What's good, girl? Lonnie24K, and today I'm here to tell my story time on my labor and delivery story. I'm not gonna talk too much before we get into the video, but I do just want to say thank you for tuning into this story time. If you guys haven't already watched my labor and delivery vlog, I'll leave it linked down below. Let's go ahead and get into the story. Let's start from the very beginning. Let's start from when I went to the doctor's office at 40 weeks on my due date, which was January 23rd. I went to the doctor's office and I just went in thinking that, you know, I would be dilated a little further and we would talk about our options. She checks me. I am further dilated. So at this point, I'm 3 centimeters dilated. She tells me everything looks good. Baby seems to be being stubborn. Would I like to get induced that weekend? And I was like, yes. You know, I did sound a little down about it because I didn't really want to be induced. I was discouraged a little bit, but I was like, okay, that gives him still time to come. He can get here before the weekend. Let's go ahead and set up the inducement for the weekend. So she looks a little further into my paperwork and my blood work, and she's like, oh wow, your umbilical cord has something going on with it. I'm not a health professional, so I can't really tell you exactly what it was, but she said that it was umbilic artery notching. I had umbilical artery notching, and I had the option to either wait, but there was a chance that he could have been born stillborn, or I had the option to go ahead and be induced that day. So of course, when I heard that he could be born a stillborn, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have him tonight. I was very discouraged, disappointed. I was sad, and I was also scared because I wasn't ready yet. Like, I was ready, but I wasn't ready. I ended up calling his dad, and I'm like, we're about to have the baby now. Go ahead and head this way. I have brought Tiana stuff, and Tiana's my older daughter, if you guys didn't know. I brought her stuff with me, her school stuff, so that I could take it to her just in case I was gonna have the baby that day. And I didn't even plan for it, but good thing I did because that was the case. So I went to head to her to drop the stuff off, and then I headed home. I got dressed and we headed on to the hospital. We get to the hospital and we go ahead and go up to the triage room. So the triage room is like the room that you go into before you have the baby, if you guys didn't know. They were like, you know, what's your name? XYZ. And I was like, you know, hey, my name's Kaylani. I'm here to be induced. And they were like, oh, okay, you go ahead and head to like the labor and delivery room. So I'm like, oh God, this is serious. So we go ahead and we head to the labor and delivery room. I tell them my name, and she's like, okay, we already have your room ready. They take us to the room. I get in my gown, I sit in the bed, and they get me all hooked up. Cool. So at this point, it's about 9 o'clock at night because I didn't get there till about 7:45. When I got there, I asked the nurse before I get induced, and she was like, no. She was like, there is a chance he could come, but he's probably not, considering that they already have you getting induced. They got me all hooked up. They ran the plan down to me. So the plan was they were going to go ahead and insert this little balloon thing that they insert inside your cervix to make your cervix widen. At 4 a.m. they'll start the Pitocin, and then at 5 a.m. my doctor will come in to break my water, and then we'll go from there. Time goes by. It's about 10, 11, and I'm like, bae, I'm having contractions. I think I'm having contractions. So they got me hooked up to the monitor, and I see it, right? And the nurse was in there, and they weren't that close together. So I was like, am I having contractions? She was like, yeah, you are having contractions. So I was like, okay. So as time progresses by, my contractions are getting stronger, and then the little balloon thing comes out on its own. So I'm like, oh my God, like, because I'm feeling a lot of pressure. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I call the nurse in there so she can come and check me. She comes to check me, and she's like, well, there are no cervix. And she kind of walked out, and she didn't say anything else, I guess to try to keep me calm, but she went out to go get the doctor. So I'm having contractions at this point, but my water did not break. I tried the fentanyl because I was trying to last out as long as I can. I did want to have him natural, but I wasn't going to be mad if I didn't have him natural because I don't like pain. I have a very low pain tolerance. So I got fentanyl one time, and it took the pain away. I was like, okay, this is cool. I was calm. And then it came back. And you can only have fentanyl every 2 hours, I think it was. So the second hour I got it again, and then I was like, can I go ahead and get the epidural, because if it was gonna get worse than that, I knew I was not gonna be able to handle it. So the lady comes in, the anesthesiologist comes in to do my epidural. I was like 6 centimeters dilated at this point when I got the epidural. She was like, were you trying to wait? And I was like, no, I was just waiting until I couldn't handle the pain anymore, you know? I thought I was gonna be able to go all the way through, but y'all, when them contractions started getting worse, breathing techniques went out the window. They went out the window. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this. Like, no, I don't like being in any type of pain or discomfort, so I got the epidural. It did not hurt at all. The epidural didn't hurt at all. It didn't hurt getting it. It was very quick and easy. After that, I was good. I couldn't feel nothing down below. I couldn't feel nothing. I felt great. I was calm and good. So at that point, I'm still feeling pressure, like, and I'm like, y'all, I feel pressure, like I need to push. So at this point, she's like, okay. She checks me and he's coming out. And I knew it, right? I knew it. I knew he was gonna come. Like when you know your body, you just know your body. And I could just feel that he was gonna come. After that balloon came, I figured he was gonna come out. So she checked me and she went to go get another nurse. So the nurse came, they called my doctor, and the doctor wasn't going to be there for another 15 minutes. So they go ahead and start getting me prepped. They get everything ready, get the room ready, get my legs up. And I'm like, oh my God, at this point I'm crying because I am having pain and they're telling me not to push. And if you watched the labor and delivery vlog, then you see that she did practice pushes. So the practice pushes did help and they did relieve the pressure, but he was already on his way out. So I'm crying because I want to push so bad, like, and I'm trying hard not to, because I know when they tell you not to push and when they're telling you to do these things, you should listen. Because I remember my previous time with my daughter, I wanted to push. I felt the urge to push and I ended up tearing. I didn't want to tear, so I was listening to what the doctors were saying. I also didn't want any complications to go on because my doctor was not there at this point. We're waiting and waiting and I'm like literally bawling my eyes out because I feel so much pressure and I need to push. She lets me do another push, and then at this point the baby's head is right there. So I'm still calm and I still just feel a lot of pressure. So I'm not pushing. His head is just hanging there. I remember his dad was like, he has hair. And I just busted out laughing. I was like, don't make me laugh. Like, I'm in pain. Like, don't make me laugh. The doctor finally comes in. As she's coming in, he is coming out. I'm not even pushing. He's coming out on his own. And she's trying to hurry up and get her stuff on. Literally, as she's walking up, I do 2 big pushes. He's out of there. The relief that you feel when they come out, amazing. Feelings that you feel when you get to hold them, it's like literally no better feeling than that. I don't even know anything to compare this feeling to. It's no comparison because it's just so amazing, and the love that you have for them. That moment of meeting the thing that you created and carried for 9 months, that is no greater feeling. After that, they got me together and got placenta out. That probably hurt the worst because she had to like push on my stomach. That was it, you know. I went to go use the bathroom because I had to use the bathroom. So I was up and walking maybe about 30-40 minutes after I gave birth and they got me all together. About 30 minutes after I was walking. I did need help because my feeling in my right leg taking a little minute to come back, and if I would have tried to do it on my own, I would have fell over. So she helped me to the bathroom. I peed. I did not have any trouble peeing. I didn't need to use that little spray thing because it wasn't burning. Of course, you know, just get that blood and stuff from down there, but other than that, like, I didn't need the peri bottle. We went to our room that we were gonna be in for the remainder stay. I took a shower. Like, I was up and moving. It was very quick, very easy. I did not have to get induced, which was literally amazing. And I prayed. I had faith in God that he was going to protect over us, and everything went smooth and good. I want to tell y'all what I did use in the hospital. So my labor and delivery story time, not really much to it besides the fact of, if they tell you you have to get induced, there is a strong chance that your baby could come. He was born at 5 a.m. and I wasn't even supposed to begin started until 5 a.m. I didn't get to experience Pitocin contractions. Thank you, God. I want to tell y'all a little bit about the things that I did use in the hospital. When you see like these postpartum bads that moms have, everyone's is going to be different because everyone's going to have a different birthing experience. With me this time, I'm very glad that I did have a good birthing experience because I did not pack all of the extra things. The things that I did pack, I didn't even use them. It's better to be over prepared than under prepared. But I'm glad that I didn't buy the extra things that I was going to do and go the extra mile because it literally just would have been a waste of money. So I got hemorrhoid cream. I got Tuck's hemorrhoid pads. I did not use those. This time I don't have no hemorrhoids. I don't have no problems. The only thing is with taking the stool softeners. I still have to take the stool softeners because it hurts. My peri bottle, I used it my first week or two just to spray down there, but I didn't have any burning or anything like that, so I didn't need the dermoplast. I really didn't need the peri bottle. I just used it just to spray and like use it in the shower because you know you don't want to like use soap and stuff down there when you first have the baby. I used the hospital underwear that they gave me. I used the pads in the hospital. That is completely your preference. Thought they were comfortable. They were very thin and like cheaply made, but like when you're bleeding and I'm like you're bleeding on everything at that point, you know, I just kept what the hospital gave me, used what they gave me. When I came home, I did use the period diapers. I like those a lot. My postpartum Freedom Mom kit, I didn't use any ice. I didn't use the perineal healing foam. I didn't use none of that stuff. I'm also glad that I didn't make the padsicles because I was going to make the padsicles and I kind of was a little down that I procrastinated for a long time and I didn't make them, but I'm glad that I didn't make them because I didn't need it. I was not sore. I also was taking my medicine how I was supposed to. So they prescribed me with 600 ibuprofen. I took that as I was supposed to when I came home. So I wasn't in any pain. Packing things and what you're going to use, like I said, it's better to be over prepared than under prepared, but everyone's going to be different. So you just got to do what's best for you. And I think that's it, y'all. I hope I didn't miss anything. If I did and y'all have any questions, comment them down below. I will answer them. And that's gonna be it, y'all. I just wanted to tell y'all that story and keep for tuning in. I don't know how the lighting is because this is literally a last minute type of video. I wanted to come on here to add to my labor and delivery story. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably wonder what was the difference between giving birth at 13 versus giving birth at 22. For me. So I decided to share with you guys the big differences that stood out to me. One big difference that stood out to me, when I was 13, I was considered an adult because I was pregnant. I was considered an adult, so I was able to make decisions for myself. Every decision that I made was definitely influenced by my parents. At the end of the day, I had the final say so, but they did influence all of my decisions and, you know, help me and guide me to making decisions. So when that came to labor and delivery, they gave me their opinion and helped me along the way, versus me at 22. I'm able to fully make all of these decisions by myself. I was able to decide who I wanted in the room, who I didn't want in the room. My grandmother was in the room, my stepmother, my aunt, and I loved having them there. You know, I loved having that support. I needed that support because, I mean, I was 13 versus at 22, it was just me and my child's father, which was my choice. I did have others that wanted to be in the room, but I wanted to take that moment just for us to kind of have like an intimate moment for us birthing our son in the world. So I did it like that. I actually enjoyed it like that. The next difference is with my daughter, I ended up going into labor like by myself. Like I didn't have to get induced. I did go in for an appointment to get set up to be induced the following week with my daughter when I was 13, but she ended up coming before then. So I ended up having contractions, and basically I had to decide, okay, it's time to go to the hospital. Versus this time, I ended up having some complications that caused me to be induced, but I ended up going into the hospital and he ended up coming on his own. So that's kind of like a difference, but like also a similarity, that they both ended up coming on their own. They both came very fast. So that I was blessed with. I thought that since my daughter came very fast, I wasn't gonna have that with my son, because they always say the second pregnancy is worse. I hear some people say the second pregnancy is worse. I hear some say the second comes faster. They both came about the same amount of time. I got an epidural with both of my kids. Pushing was the same with both of them. They both came out quick. With my daughter, I had the urge to push, and we would push, take a break, right? In between those breaks, I still wanted to push. Like, she was ready to come out. I could feel it. And I was like, can I keep pushing? Because the pressure was a lot for me. And the nurse was like, if you want to keep pushing, keep pushing. So I kept pushing. I tore. And with my son, I had them 2 little practice pushes. If you watch the labor and delivery vlog, then I kind of stopped pushing, but he was still coming. I wasn't pushing with him, so he basically just came on his own. My last little 2 pushes, but he was already right there once I started those 2 pushes, and he was out. After birth, I didn't really remember it with my daughter. I didn't remember them like pushing the placenta out. With my son, I felt that it was literally like I'm pushing out something else. I couldn't really push. She was like, it's okay, and I think she kind of got it out. I don't really know, because I was busy with the baby, but I felt it that time. Postpartum with my daughter was way worse than with my son. Postpartum with my daughter, I remember bleeding a lot. I remember it burning. I needed that peri bottle. Like, it burned. Peeing burned. Pooping hurted. Like, so bad. I tore with my daughter. I had to get stitches. So I think that's kind of like where the burning came in at. I also had hemorrhoids when it came to my daughter, so that is a whole nother story. If you have never experienced hemorrhoids, you must be one of God's favorites, because it was the summertime, okay, and I was still having hemorrhoids with my daughter. Oh my God, it was like it was like the worst. I think that was the worst part. With both kids, I was able to get up, walk around, do everything that I needed to do right after having them. Let's start with my son for postpartum. I did have postpartum blues. I cried a lot. So far it's going good. Like, y'all know, I'm still fresh into postpartum. He's only in 1 month. With my daughter, I didn't know about postpartum and all of the things that came with it. One thing I did experience was I experienced postpartum hair loss with her. It didn't get really bad, but it did get bad because I was thinning in these areas here. My hair grew a lot, but it fell out a lot during postpartum hair loss. Around that time, I was trying to finish school. So I was in the 8th grade, and I was trying to finish out my 8th grade year, and then I was getting ready to start high school. Well, right around the time that I was getting ready to start high school, I started breaking out into hives. In the beginning, we thought something was in the house and something was like biting me, but it wasn't biting anybody else. So then I ended up going to see like a dermatologist. He got like an allergy test done on me, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They started recommending like medications to put me on that could kind of control the hives. The diagnosis was chronic stress that was causing my hives. I literally just thought about this year, that looking back, my hives were probably a factor of postpartum, and they lasted a good amount of time. But I had a lot going on, having a baby, trying to finish 8th grade, starting high school. I was very nervous about starting high school. Yeah, and I can't believe that nobody ever pinned the 2 together. Nobody ever said that it was probably caused by postpartum. When I say that I would break out into hives, y'all, I'm not just talking about little bumps. I mean, like, I would break out into hives. My lips would be swole, my eyes would be swole, my feet, you could feel them in the bottom of my feet, but like you don't see them. My feet would hurt so bad to walk. My skin would be so itchy. I would just have bumps all over my skin. My lips would be so swole to the point where it looks like, and I'm not just talking like, oh, it look like you got lip filler swole. Like, no, I mean like, what's that lady name? Big Ange? Like that type of swole. Okay, so like if y'all like are scared of like bumps and stuff, I would not look. So it would look like this. It would look like that on my hands. It would look like this. It would look like this on my neck. And eventually they put me on like this allergy medicine that ended up working. So yeah, that is all of the differences between me giving birth at 13 and me giving birth at 22. Looking back, which time was my favorite time? I don't think that any of them were either my favorite time or one time was better than the other time, because both have their pros and both have their cons. So, you know, I'm very blessed and thankful that I was able to give birth to my kids and not have any complications. And yeah, I have support both times. So very blessed girl here. And that's gonna be it for this part. Thank you for tuning in to my labor and delivery story. Thank you for supporting me and, you know, just being here for Lonnie Gang. And that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all in the next vlog.